¿Qué tal? Buenos días a todos. Gracias por participar de un webinar más. Eh, en esta ocasión vamos a hablar un poquito de los nuevos productos de Global Caché. Para ayudarnos con la presentación va a estar la señorita Rusty Keller. Ella es directora de marketing de la empresa Global Caché y pues ella nos platicará un poquito de todos estos nuevos accesorios que están bastante interesantes y creo que les van a poder servir para muchos proyectos. Como les recuerdo, este webinar será en inglés. Como sea, si tienen dudas, lo seguimos haciendo con la metodología de toda la vida. Las preguntas me las van enviando, por favor, por chat. Las voy viendo y al final de su presentación intentaremos contestar todas sus preguntas. Y si no, como siempre, también atenderemos todo por correo. Se los agradezco mucho y adelante. Okay, Rusty, I'm ready.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, and thank you for joining Global CACHÉ and NOVOTECH's new product training series featuring Global Connect. I'm Rusty Keller, the Marketing Director at Global CACHÉ. I'm going to start off the webinar with a quick video recorded in February at ISE in Amsterdam with Robin Ford, our VP of Business Development. Note that we've had some issues with this video on some webinars, so if you can't see or hear it, it's only a couple minutes long. There is a link on our front page of our website, which is www.globalcache.com. After the video, I'll share a brief company and product overview before handing it back to Garrett, one of our development engineers, Garrett Gustafson, for the real meat and potatoes of the webinar. If you have any questions, please go ahead and send it through the chat dialog. And I am going to Is this showing on your screen? I'm concerned. I don't see it moving. There we go. Okay, here we go.
It is Matt for aviation.tv. We are here in the Global CACHÉ booth at ISE 2019 in lovely Amsterdam. I'm here with Robin. Robin, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Doing fantastic. Thank you so much for taking some time to speak with us today.
Of course.
For anyone who does not know who Global CACHÉ is, again, that would surprise me, but if there is somebody out there who doesn't, tell us a little bit about the history of the company and really what it is that you do.
Okay, and why we do it.
Exactly.
So essentially about, I don't know, 20 years ago or so, the founder of this company, the co-founder of this company, and I took our previous company public. And when we did that, we built a big house in San Jose, and because we'd been in high tech all our lives, we thought we'd just automate it. It would be very easy to do that. And what we found that was available at the time was ridiculous. Very, very high-end proprietary systems. It was crazy. So we thought, wow, we could probably go down to Fry's or something and buy some equipment and cobble it together and do the same thing for maybe 10, 15,000. We put that in the back of our minds, and then when we left our company we decided we were going to do another one. What were we going to do? We said, let's do the home automation thing. And that's really led us to automation, commercial automation, as well as residential.
Very good. So let's talk a little bit about what products you're showing at the booth. What's new and exciting?
Okay. So when we first started, we made an assumption based on our experience in Silicon Valley that when automation really took off in patrol, it would be based on Wi-Fi and IP. That was just an assumption we made. And we're happy to see that that has come to fruition, really. Everywhere you look at this show, it's AV over IP, it's something over IP. At the time we started the company, most of this industry didn't even know how to spell IP. So essentially we started it with small pieces of product. This is an iTouch. This is Wi-Fi. It connects IR, and then we have other versions that connect serial and relay, contact closure, and also sensor input. And 17 years in the business, we've done several different versions. The newest product we're really excited about because it's basically evolved from everything we've learned in this industry about what installers want.
Okay.
The new product is called Global Connect, and it comes in various sizes of enclosure.
Okay.
So this is a 19-inch enclosure rack mount down to 4.5 inches, much smaller. And what we've done, we've added beyond the IR serial contact closure connections, we've added a 3-to-1 HDMI switch.
Okay.
And we've also added something that's really exciting because we've added a Raspberry Pi option. Now, all of these are options. You can build anything you want. You can have all RS-232 or one IR and the rest contact closure. Doesn't matter, and any size.
So why would you put a Raspberry
Pi? So the Raspberry Pi, it's interesting because we're very big in partnering.
Okay.
And we have so many software partners, different kinds. Some that run on their own hardware, some that you run on a smartphone or a tablet, some are in the cloud. But they all would like to have some sort of system where there's an always-on part to the control. So imagine if you have cloud-based, which does all the analytics, it's all awesome, but do you really want to send all that information over the network all the way up to the cloud that you're raising the volume of your TV, for instance? So you always know the state the equipment is in by always on. So it's really for a couple of reasons. One is our software partners can really use it.
Right.
We announced one of our partners that their software is shipping with this, and we'll have many, many more to back that up. It's also for integrators who have their own programmers, who would like to develop their own control software, that kind of thing. Another really exciting thing is because it adds intelligence to the product, now you can add skills or software to the Pi, which will interface with Alexa. So you can walk into your conference room and say, "Hi, I'm here," or whatever your little words are that trigger things,
right,
and the whole thing is set up for you. So there's just so much you can do with it, and it's really, I want to stress, it's really not a controller because we work with other people who provide the control and automation, whether it's in the cloud, whether it's on a Pi, whether it's on a phone, and then we provide the way to connect everything to it.
Very good. So if somebody wants to find out more information about the company, about the products, and where they can, of course, purchase them, where do they go to find it?
Okay. So we sell through distribution to the integrator channel.
Okay.
We also sell to value-added resellers and we private label for people.
Okay.
And they can find out all of that information off of our website at www.globalcache.com.
Excellent.
Okay, well, I hope you were able to get some of that. If not, again, it is on our website, www.globalcache.com. So who is Global Cache? We have been in this industry since 2002. We are known for our support and foundation of open systems. This allows us to connect any device to an IP network for control. We are partners in connectivity, and what that means is we are agnostic on the front end and back end. All of our APIs are published, which Garrett will discuss later, and that allows just about any of the software control systems and hardware systems to connect to our devices. We have over 1 million units field installed. We have global partnerships with companies like NOVOTECH, and other distributors in Europe, as well as international software providers, and we have global distribution of our products. Again, I cannot stress enough how much we are a partnering company. Without our partners, we are just not nearly as valuable. And we support our partnerships a number of ways. We have lots of literature on our website for distributors, but as well as installers, integrators to use. If you go to globalcache.com, novatech.com/downloads or /docs. There's a list of all of our data sheets, APIs, just every single resource that we have available. Another way that we support our product and our partnership is through events. We do a number of trade shows internationally as well as in the US. We also have just launched this training program. We would love your feedback on any of the information we provide, and you can send that to training@globalcache.com. Where do I buy Global Cache products? Well, NOVOTECH. As Robin mentioned, if you were able to hear or see the video, we also sell through VARs and OEMs, but primarily through distributors like NOVOTECH that support the product through events, through technical support, through promotions. So this particular webinar is focused on Global Connect. Global Connect is our new product line. We do have 3 other product lines which Garrett will mention, but we'd really like to focus on Global Connect and what it means to you and what it can do for you. Global Connect is a completely configurable, customizable product. In fact, next week we'll be launching a configurator that will allow you to sort of create your own unit. It'll give you a part number that then you can give to NOVOTECH and they can submit the order to us. But Global Connect is comprised of 3 elements. We do have over 30 different pre-configured models, but like I mentioned, it is a completely configurable product. We have 7 different chassis sizes, everywhere from the 19-inch rack mount that you see here down to a 4.5-inch model. Each of the chassis have so many slots, and the slots are then populated by modules, and the modules take up 1, 2, or 3 slots. Every unit will have to have a network and power module, and you'll see this one has your standard one, and then next to that is a module that takes up 2 slots, and that's our HDMI 3-to-1 switch, and so on. So why Global Connect? Why us? Well, we provide lower cost, higher end products. That mean that you save money when you install them or spec them, and that means you make money. These products are completely customizable. You are not stuck with extra serial ports or serial modules that you don't need. You design what you want. Again, we are agnostic on the front end. We have open publish APIs for all of our products, and we like to work with everyone. We're completely scalable. We can be used as digital duct tape if you have a large install with a well-known hardware software controller, and you just need a small hole fixed and you don't want to buy one of their giant racks. You can do that. But we are also the basis for many home installations, huddle rooms, hotels, a couple stadiums, sports bars, boardrooms. We're future-proof, so our new product line is backwards and forwards compatible, meaning that if you're already using one of our original products, or say the iTouch or Flex, our products will continue to work in your installation. And as always, easy to install, set up, and use. Another great feature of our products is we integrate with our control tower. Control tower, and Garrett will give you some more information on this. The control tower is a free IR database in the cloud that we make available to our partners and to end users. I'm going to go ahead and pass this over to Garrett Gustafson. He is a development engineer here at Global CACHÉ, and he can give you more technical information on the product. Garrett?
Thank you, Christy. Good morning, everybody. So I'm going to start off here, and I'm going to be talking about a few different things during my part of the presentation here. I'm going to start off with the APIs, which is basically how you would talk to the units. So I'll give a brief overview of those. Then I'm going to get into some of the software partners that you can use our products with. I'm going to briefly touch on our previous products there. The main focus of this presentation is Global Connect, but we'll go do a little overview there for those that aren't familiar, or those that need a refresher. And then I'm going to touch on our utilities there, which are basically our tools that are to help integrators work with our products. And then I'll get to the real star of the show here, the Global Connect. So without further ado, here is we have basically two ways of talking with our Global Connect product line. All of our products support a TCP API, and then our Flex product and Global Connect product support an HTTP API. And if those are foreign words to you, you'll probably be most often, if you're using a control software there, if it has a network connectivity, it'll allow you to basically do an IP address and a port, and that's usually the TCP API, which you can then just send basically string commands that we document for all of our devices to get them working there. And as Rusty kind of mentioned there, without our partners, we don't do anything. So these APIs are the communication protocol that you use to talk with our devices. So that's what our partners use to write drivers for our devices. It's also what installers and integrators can use to get our devices working on a software platform that might not have drivers for us already. So this is just a short list here of some of the control software platforms that you can use our devices with. So it's worth noting that some of these are official partners. For example, QSC is an official partner. They recently, earlier this year, released an entire plugin set for all of our devices there, so they're all supported. We also, some of these on the list here, for example, Crestron is not an official partner, but we have installers and integrators use our devices with Crestron all the time. Within Crestron, it's really easy to communicate with the device on an IP address. So Crestron programmers will basically just send the actual string command documented in our TCP API to the device there, and they're able to use our device no problem there. So it is worth noting that even if someone's not listed as an official partner, there's a good chance you'll be able to use our devices with them if they can talk on the network there from their control platform. So to kind of recap some of our original products here, this is the GC100, which is our first product, and this is the one that really started us on the road of connecting anything to the network. So we started out with these three base models here. We had things like serial control, so RS-232 control over the network, also IR control of the network, so sending IR commands. And then we also had in the middle on those bottom two units there, the green terminal blocks are relays, so doing things like signal relays for on-off commands there. The next product line that we went to here is the iTach, and the iTach, we did a couple things differently. One, we went to a single type of control per unit. So that lets you pick and choose what type of control you want. It also lets you put these devices out by the devices you want to control. So if you just need, an IR port in a bedroom or something like that, these are great devices to do that. We also added a Wi-Fi version, so you could do Wi-Fi control instead of having to have a hardwire at every location. We also added the ability to do PoE on the Ethernet versions there. So there is a PoE version of each of those products as well that you can order there that'll power up over a PoE Ethernet cable. And then we went to the Flex here, and the Flex is so-called because it's meant to be flexible. So the Flex comes in Ethernet. It also comes in Ethernet with PoE, and it also comes in a Wi-Fi version. And the Flex becomes the type of control that you plug in a control cable for. So for example, you could do, on the bottom left there is an RS-232 cable. You could plug that into the Flex there, and then you have serial control over the network, either via Ethernet unit or Wi-Fi Flex. You could also use that cable in the middle there, which is 3 independent IR ports. So that same Flex will give you 3 independent IR ports with just a cable change. And you could also do, on the right there is a relay sensor cable. So you do 4 relay outputs, 4 sensor inputs. And we also have a variety of different cables there. We have different RS-232 form factors. We have an RS-45 cable. We have quite a few different variations of IR cables there with pre-molded emitters and also a blaster there too. So there's quite a bit of variety there you can choose from with the Flex there. But the whole idea is basically that it's a flexible platform there for using cable-based control. So if you used our products before, you may have seen some of these utilities. These utilities are not control software. They're basically just tools to make integration easier. So the first utility, and probably the most commonly used, is iHelp. And iHelp's whole purpose is when you connect one of our devices to the network, it'll get a DHCP address, and iHelp will basically show you what address the unit's on. So it'll detect all the units on the network. It also is the utility that we use to update our units. So if we push a firmware update, you can get download iHelp and you can update your units with that. The next utility we have is iTest. iTest is a testing and troubleshooting utility, and what it allows you to do is very simply connect up to the TCP API. And what you can do with that is send commands directly to the units. So if you, for example, are troubleshooting an install where your IR control is not working and you're not sure why, iTest is a great tool for that because you can connect it to the unit. You could send your IR code, and then you could see, oh, okay, maybe the emitter's flashing, but the TV's not reacting. That could tell you that it's the wrong code set. Or if the emitter is flashing when you're doing it from iTest, but it's not flashing when you're running it from your control software of choice there, then that might tell you that there's something wrong with the configuration of your control software. So a really powerful tool to kind of eliminate variables if you do run into any issues there. We also have iLearn. iLearn is basically it's a learning utility there, so it allows you to learn IR codes. Our iTach, Flex, and Global Connect IR modules all have built-in learners, so you can use iLearn with those units there to learn codes directly from your remotes. And then we also have iConvert, which allows you to convert IR codes from different formats. So if you have codes from a third-party database that might be in Pronto Hex, for example, you can convert those to global cache, or vice versa if your control software takes hex as an input and you only have global cache codes. Also worth mentioning here, and Rusty to touch on this, we do have an IR database. It's hosted on our website, and you can log in with an email, get 5 code sets sent to your email a day, and it's constantly being updated there. We do quarterly updates with a bunch of new devices every quarter. So it's very well maintained, and pretty much all your common devices are going to be in there. We also have support for our partners, our software partners. They're able to get API access to the database, so they can integrate the database with their control software, which makes it really easy for integrators to set up their control software with IR codes, as they can just do it through basically drop-down menus of choosing which device you want to control there. So that is something to look for in when you're looking at your control software there. If they have that, it makes IR devices very simple. So Global Connect. So what we've done with Global Connect is we've tried to take some of the best features of all of our products lines here and put it into one unit. So what we've come up with is a modular product. So the unit is broken up into several different control modules, and each module has its own IP address. And the reason for that is a couple of things. One, it makes it very easy for us to do complete backwards compatibility with our previous APIs. Because each one has their own IP address there, we can support all of the commands that any previous products supported there for the type of control. So for example, things that existed on the iTach line, like IR control or serial control, those drivers will work with the Global Connect IR and serial modules. So it gives us great backwards compatibility. It also allows for a very much easier driver management. So you can just pull in multiple driver instances of an IR driver, for example, for all your IR modules, or a serial driver for all your serial modules, instead of having to have very large, clunky drivers there that would try to control a unique combination of this modular product. So because it's a modular product, once you understand just how it's built, you can basically make any unit there you want. So we make chassis, various chassis sizes. We make freestanding units. We also have rack-mounted units. So we have sizes from the 19-inch rack mount. We also have 15-inch, 10.5, 7.5, 6-inch, and 4.5 freestanding units. And each of these chassis sizes is can house a certain number of slots. So a slot is 1.5 inches inside the aluminum extrusion. And we have modules that can take up 1, 2, or 3 slots. So if you have a 4.5-inch chassis, you could fit 3 one-slot modules, or 1 2-slot module and 1 1-slot module, for example. So with the first module I'm going to talk about here is the network module. So this is a very very simple module. Basically just provides network connectivity to the unit. It also provides power. So on the left, that's exactly what we have. We have a way to provide Ethernet connection to the Global Connect unit, as well as the power input. On the right, we also have our 2-port switch module there. And that allows you to do exactly the same thing, network and power, but we also have the ability to do PoE in on that second Ethernet port. So you can power the unit over PoE. And you also get an extra Ethernet port there, so it has a little switch in it. So if you want to put for example, a unit out by your AV system, and maybe you need to run network to the TV too, you could just run one PoE out to the unit, powers up the unit, and then just a cable out from our unit into the TV, and you have network connectivity for the TV too without having to run 2 wires or install an additional switch. So the first control module I'm going to talk about is our IR control module. So up on the top here, we have an example unit here. It's a single IP network module with 2 IR modules there and a 4.5-inch chassis. And the IR module allows you to do infrared control. So we have 3 independent IR ports per module. And we can use those IR ports for either emitters, so short range IR transmitters, or we can also do a blaster on port 3 there, so you can go up to 35 feet with that. And those cables come with the modules there, or the unit when you order the unit. We can also configure those IR ports to be used as sensor inputs. So they will work with our existing GC-SC1, GC-SP1 sensor cables. So you can plug those in there and you can use them as sensor inputs there to get either the presence of contact closure or sense the presence of a voltage. They also have built-in IR learners, which we can use with iLearn there. So what can you do with the IR module? Well, most commonly, as I'm sure you're aware, we see a lot of AV devices, your DVD players, TVs. Less commonly, but also very useful. You can do things like controlling your AC units, your climate control units there. A lot of times they use IR control, so you could control that. We also see people doing things like IR controlled blinds. We've also seen IR controlled cameras there where the motion is controlled over IR. And so there's all sorts of different things you can use IR for there, just even outside of the AV world. The next control module I'm going to talk about is the RS-232 module. So this is, it's fully compliant RS-232. All the communication goes over the network. It's bi-directional, so that means you can send data to the serial port. You can also receive any data received on the serial port can also go back over the network to your control system, so you can get feedback from your devices. And we support the whole baud rate from 300 baud to 150.2K baud, which is really the full baud rate range that really exists in the field. We also have a full 7-pin serial on the 9-pin DB9 there, so that includes things like the CTS, RTS signals, which are hardware flow control. Which is, in a nutshell, basically saying that we have all those signals there. So whatever device you're trying to control, we have all the signals brought out there instead of just being TX and RX, which is what you see a lot with serial control now, which we can do, of course, do that as well, but those extra signals are there in case you need them for a particular device. So with serial, serial is a rather unique protocol in that it's it's fairly inexpensive for device manufacturers to add to their devices, and because of that, we see it in all sorts of different things. So you can use it, for example, AV devices. Sony or LG and Samsung TVs, for example, have a serial service port that gets used for control a lot. We also see it with things like security panels sometimes have a serial input, or you can get data from your sensors. We also see things like bull controllers. So basically anything that has any sort of intelligence has a chance of having a serial port on it there. So it's a great way to get those types of devices onto the network so you can talk to them from your control system. So this is our relay module. So the relay module is a 2-slot module. So it takes up 2 slots in that chassis there. So that would be a 5-slot chassis there. So we have 2 2-slot modules and one slot IP module. It adds 6 relays. So there's 6 single pole, single throw relays. They are 277 volt AC or 30 volt DC, up to 3 amp relays. And so what that means is that you can do all sorts of things with these. You can power devices on and off. You can do lights on and off. You can run small motors with these relays directly. So they're very powerful relays there for the form factor we have. And you can also use them for your traditional kind of more signal relay things as well. So if you want to do talk to a garage door opener or a gate controller, a lot of times those just have low power contact closure input, and you can use that for those as well, in addition to being able to do things like turn things on and off. So the HDMI, this is our HDMI switching module, and this is a new type of control for us. So this is something we're really excited about. It's a 3x1 switcher. It's 18 gigabits per second, so supports full UHD HDR, UHD 4K HDR. It also supports HDCP 2.2. And what you can do with this is you can control the switching over the network. So it's a 3 input, 1 output switch, so you can control which input is going to the output there. You can also inject CEC. So with CEC, you can do control of all your HDMI connected devices. So you can send commands that might do things like turn on the TV or change the input on the TV. You can also do things that you couldn't do with IR, for example, like some displays support things like text on screen that you can do over CEC. So there's a lot of interesting things you can do with CEC control, and it also gives you a hardwire type of control there, which a lot of installers prefer over things like IR there. And then the final module I'm going to talk about here is our Raspberry Pi module. So this is a completely optional module. It's not something that's required for our devices to work there. They can still be used with control software without it. But what it allows for is a platform for our software partners to put their software on it. So we have some partners that work on the Pi, and so their software sits right there next to our IO gateways, and so with that combination of their software and our hardware, you're able to basically have your entire control system in one form factor there. It's also something that has a bunch of support in the community there for, so there's a lot of projects you can put on yourself there. And so something, if you wanted to, if you had a special request, it might be something to be useful, but it's also something that our partners can use as well and leverage as well. So it's something we're really excited to see what people do with, and it's also really excited to see where our partners continue to go with it as well. And actually, before I go on, for example, one of our partners that ships with the unit there, they're our first one to sign up to be on the Raspberry Pi there is CACHÉ. They do things like Amazon Alexa integration. You also do like IFTTT. So there's a lot of interesting things you can do with that Pi there to link our device to other services out there like Alexa. So to kind of put everything together here, We have a unit here with a single IP module. It's a 19-inch rack mount unit. Then we have our HDMI switching module, 2 IR modules, 3 serial modules, and a relay module. And I think that that's one of the really great benefits of the Global Connect is the modularity and the ability to build your own unit there, or build different combinations of units. So because of that, you can basically select whatever combination you need to fit your install perfectly there. And so there's no inefficiency in having modules that you don't need there because you can order exactly what you want there. So what can you do with Global Connect? Well, you can do all sorts of different things. So for example, boardrooms are really well suited. You have things like, typically in boardrooms, you'll have displays, you may have lifts, you could use the relays for. You can also do things like campus automation. Again, you have in this room, for example, you have a projector lift. You might use your relays for. You might be using our IR blaster to talk to the projector. You might be using some other IR devices for some AV sources, DVD or your DVD players. It might be in that cabinet. You could also be using the HDMI switch to choose which device is going to be on that display. So really, really versatile in the different types of control. It's also something that can be used in the home as well. We have some of those smaller 4.5-inch units there that offer a smaller form factor, which you can put just a couple modules in if you just need to control a few things. It's also scalable to larger scale things because it's on the network. We can add as many units as you need. We also have those larger sizes there that make it really easy to add a bunch of devices a bunch of different types of control at once. And of course, the Global Connect is very good at controlling a lot of something. For example, our 19-inch rack mount 19-inch rack mount chassis with IR modules, completely filled up with IR modules, would give you 27 independent IR ports. So that would more than cover a room like this. You can also do things like garage door and gates with those relays there. And then these are just a couple interesting places that we've discovered our devices have been installed in. And we expect to see Global Connect go into some interesting ones as well. And with that, I think I'll turn it back over to Rusty here, and we'll wrap up our part of the presentation.
Thank you, Garrett. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to go ahead and put those in the chat box. I would like to, again, remind you our website is globalcache.com. I've put the URL for the Global Connect portion of our site, as well as the training email. If you have any questions, please let us know. Otherwise, I'll hand this back to our friends at NOVOTECH.
Okay, thank you, Rusty and Garrett. ¿Alguna pregunta? ¿Algo que quisieran que redondeemos el tema? Bueno, Rusty, Garrett, I have a questions.
Go ahead.
The questionnaire, the ports used are configurables?
Can you say that one more time?
Yes, the question is the ports used are configurables, TCP ports?
So for the TCP API, the port is set. So for the control, it'd be 4998. For serial, it'd be 4999. So those are static ports that you would talk to.
Okay, let me check. Ignacio, ¿quedó claro tu pregunta? Okay. Gracias, Ignacio. No more questions, Garrett.
Okay.
Okay, well, thank you very much for showing up today. We do offer webinars about once a month, and if we'd be happy to come back to NOVOTECH and share more about our products.
Okay. Pues sí, cualquier otra pregunta, cualquier asunto relacionado con los costos, con tiempos de entrega y demás, por favor, diríjanse con con el vendedor con el cual tienen asignada ustedes la cuenta para que los puedan atender y les puedan dar seguimiento a esto. Les agradezco su tiempo, gracias por asistir a un webinar más organizado por NOVOTECH. Como siempre, estaremos promocionando más webinars durante el mes. Les agradezco mucho. Ok. Thank you, Garrett. Rusty. See you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.